In our nonstop, noisy world, trying to find just a little bit of inner peace can feel like a full-time job. But what if I told you that the most powerful tool for finding that calm isn't something you have to go out and get? What if it's something you're already doing, right this very second? Let's dive into this. No, really, just take a second. Can you feel the air coming in and going out? That simple, totally automatic thing you're doing? Well, that's what this entire explainer is all about. Because according to the spiritual traditions we're exploring today, that rhythm isn't just about keeping you alive. It's the actual doorway to connecting with who you really are on the deepest level. So let's start with the big why. From the moment we're born, we're all kind of looking for something, right? We search for happiness in our jobs, in relationships, in all sorts of experiences. But all those things come and go. And deep down, I think we all feel this little hum of anxiety about how temporary everything is, especially life itself. Now, the source material offers a really fascinating take on this. It suggests that our fear of death doesn't really come from dying, but from feeling disconnected from the one part of us that isn't temporary, the part that's permanent and unchanging, our soul, or as it's called here, Atma. So, the big question is, how do we make that connection? You might be thinking it must require some huge, difficult effort, but the path we're talking about is called Sahaj, and that word literally means natural or effortless. It's all based on the most natural thing we do. Just think about it for a second. Almost everything else we do, whether it's working or even just watching a movie, takes mental energy. It stops and starts, and it can leave you feeling drained. But your breath? It has been with you every single moment since the day you were born, just working perfectly in the background. It never gets tired. And that's what makes it the perfect, unshakable anchor for meditation. This brings us to the core technique itself. It's called Swaso Swaz Japa, and it sounds complicated, but the practice is incredibly simple. All you're doing is aligning a sacred sound, a name, with the natural rhythm of your breath as it flows in and out. You're not forcing anything, you're just gently placing this sound onto the current that's already there. So you see, it's not just about watching the breath. The other crucial piece of the puzzle is the name you pair with it. And you might be wondering, why is this part so important? Well, the texts we're drawing from are really, really clear on this. They say that while there are countless mantras out there, the name Ram is considered the Sartattva, which means the supreme essence, the core vibration that everything else comes from. It's not presented as just one of many options, but as the fundamental sound. And to really drive home just how significant this is, the texts give this powerful image. They say that even a being as supreme as Lord Shiva is constantly chanting this name. The idea is to show that its power is recognized at the absolute highest levels of consciousness. Okay, this all sounds pretty profound, I get it, but how do you actually do it? Let's break this down into a super simple, practical routine that you could literally start today. The whole process is beautifully simple. You just sit somewhere comfortable, don't try to control your breath or change it in any way, just notice it. As you breathe in, silently think Ram. As you breathe out, silently think Ram. That's the whole thing. And listen, step 4 is maybe the most important part. Your mind is going to wander. That's its job. The real practice isn't about forcing a silent mind. It's about the gentle, patient act of just coming back over and over again. And let's be honest, you're gonna hit some hurdles. The source material is very realistic about this. You'll sit down and suddenly remember every single to-do list item you have. That's pramad, or distraction. Or you'll suddenly feel so sleepy you can barely keep your eyes open. That's alasha. The texts say the answer isn't to get frustrated. It's just courage and a gentle persistence. You just notice it and you come back. So you stick with it. You're persistent, you're gentle with yourself. What's the payoff? Where does this simple act of breathing and repeating a name actually lead you? The benefits start to show up in stages. At first, you'll probably notice this growing sense of calm, a release from that constant background noise of anxiety. But as you go deeper, the sources talk about more profound experiences, things like perceiving an inner light or a divine sound, feeling this spontaneous love and compassion for everyone, and even the feeling that old patterns or karma are starting to dissolve. Now, as amazing as peace and calm are, they're just the beginning. Think of them as the beautiful scenery you see along the way. The actual destination is something else entirely, something way more transformative. The ultimate goal is called Atma Sakshkar, which means self-realization. And this isn't just a nice idea or something you believe in. It's described as a direct, undeniable living experience. It's that moment your inner eyes open and you stop identifying with your temporary body and mind, and you directly experience your true nature as something eternal and whole. And this brings us right back to where we started. By getting to know your own soul, that fear of death just melts away. The texts say that for someone who reaches this state of awareness, the whole cycle of life and death is transcended. They learn to live fully in that consciousness, and so they can also leave the body in that same full consciousness. It's really an incredible journey, isn't it? From the simple act of noticing your breath, all the way to the ultimate realization of who you truly are. And it doesn't require a single thing that you don't already have. All it asks for is a little bit of your attention. The path is right here, in this very moment.